What up, guys? Welcome to another JK Overtime. This is where we get to get close and personal.
Personal. We get real personal and JK Overtime.
Especially we got Nick, because this guy's king of deflecting all the time. But now there's no one to deflect to. It's just me and Nick. And you're already rubbing your eyes. What's the problem? What's the fucking problem?
I don't know why I'm nervous.
Are you nervous?
This is making me nervous.
Well, let's take it back. So I like
Are you nervous?
No.
You're immune to this. This is like you're good to go.
Well, because I never deflect, so everyone knows who I am.
I'm trying to figure out how to deflect for a whole hour.
So on Ryan and Anthony's episode, they started off, and I'm actually a really fan of that episode.
That was a great episode.
Because I know they've known each other for a long time, but I didn't know there was like history almost outside of dance.
Yeah.
There's history in UCI and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be cool if we go back to maybe when we first met. Nah.
Already shaking my head.
And
no, we could do that. I remember that.
And what was our first impression? You go first.
Okay. My recollection, and I could be wrong.
What year is this? Let's date this.
This is probably like 2017. This is when I was still at my old gym, Fight Academy.
Yeah.
My home gym.
And I was
in Pasadena. Shout out to them. If you guys want to do MMA classes in Pasadena, go check it out. But yeah, I was working out of there, and I was training David at the time, and this is when David was going through his weight loss journey, and he was really into kickboxing and all that, right? And he was like, hey, why don't you train, like, let's do a group training. I'll bring Bart and Joe.
How did you guys even link up, though, you and David?
I think he just found me on Yelp.
On Yelp?
Just on Yelp.
Did he ever tell you, like, did he look up Fight Academy or MMA trainer, or what did he look up?
He said he just looked up, like, private kickboxing lessons, and then I popped up. Apparently, he said he thought I was just gonna be this white guy, and when he saw me,
are you even on Yelp?
Yeah, I'm on Yelp, dude. Why
That's
did you say that with disgust, dude?
Because you suck at social media,
dude. Well, that's how I got all my clients. Was
I'm gonna
either
do
Yelp.
exactly what fucking David did.
All right.
Private.
It's definitely changed now.
Kickboxing.
I don't know if
lessons.
It's still.
No, that's fucking bullshit. I don't believe David or you. Pasadena. Check it out. All right. Look at this. Private kickboxing lessons.
I'm not going to pop up.
I guarantee you're not going to pop up.
Yeah, but that was like a long time ago.
Martial Arts.
Alonzo, shout out to Alonzo.
Krav Maga Unleashed.
Yeah.
Impact Personal Safety.
Okay, so you got to scroll a little bit longer,
right,
okay?
okay?
Maybe my search engine optimization.
Tai Chi Academy of Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's me.
Shan Tung Kung Fu. Legacy. Vibes LA.
That's the dance competition.
Okay,
that
I'm gonna
Anthony
go all
hosts.
the way down, to like number 19. Hidori Martial Arts.
Okay, dude. Okay, you made your point. All right, you made your point. You don't need to go to the 25th
So
page.
that's bullshit.
No, it was. Yeah, it was. I think, and I don't.
Yelp.
I honestly.
Not Instagram.
No, it was Yelp.
Oh.
And then he later followed me on Instagram because I remember it being like this blue tech. And this is back in the day when Instagram was like still kind of popping off, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, this guy with a blue check mark followed me. And I was like, who is this? And I saw his page and I was like, oh shit. I think I've seen this guy's YouTube channel before. And I saw he was with you guys because I knew who you guys were.
Yeah?
Yeah, I knew
From
who
what?
you guys were. From my YouTube, I just knew you guys did skits and you guys did the accents.
Oh.
That was my knowledge of you guys. Fast forward to you guys bringing all your ladies, right?
Yeah.
You guys all did like a giant training session with us, and it was really fun. And I was like, wow, you guys are really cool, really nice. And I just remember kind of, I was like, definitely like, okay, this is like the first time I had like celebrity clients. You know what I mean?
see.
You guys were some big names, and I was like, oh shit, just don't be an idiot. Just do what you normally do. And then Shane Faison came too.
Yeah.
Which is also very
that was
random.
all in the same one, or
I
that's
think
a
it was the
session
same one.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Because that's when I met Gio for the first time. Because I remember thinking, Jesus Christ, she's the tallest woman I've ever met in my life.
I think Shane came maybe a few sessions later.
You know what, dude? It doesn't matter. Okay.
So how many? What was your first impression of me specifically?
I was like, this guy's a big deal. That's what I thought.
What? Big deal
Yeah.
of what?
Just in
Selling cars?
well, in like the YouTube space or just social media. I was like, oh, this dude has like a great, like, dude, this guy has, I remember thinking like 600,000 people or whatever, like following you on Instagram. I was like, dude, this is crazy. And also too, this was my first time, even with training with David, anytime he would post me on anything, like I would get so many people just hitting me up randomly, like following me, and I was like, what? And it was like the first time I've ever seen anything like that. So the whole social media game in general was like so new to me. So the fact that you guys are coming from this space and from other people that I've heard that trained other influencers, they're like, oh yeah, dude, they're kind of like some of the worst clients they've ever had. So I was like, all right, let's just see how this goes out, because I was kind of very skeptical. But when I met you guys, I was like, man, you guys are really down to earth, and you guys are just really cool, and you guys are a silly goose time. And I was like, this is kind of right up my alley. So immediately I remember thinking like, man, you guys are really nice. And I remember being pleasantly surprised and just being like, cool, awesome. And then from there, it just kind of blossomed into what it is today, where you guys asked me to to do this show.
What about the first time training? Did you have any like you look at Joe or you look at me? Well, let's just talk about me because I'm here.
Yeah.
When you looked at me, did you think, oh, this guy's gonna be like this or whatever? And then when we trained,
Not really, man. I try to be, because every time I have too many expectations going in to a training session or just even a new client, like you kind of have to be really good at having a clean slate, I think, for how I run when I see new clients or just meet new people. So I try to have a blank slate and just be like, from whatever I observe, that's what I observe, and that's what I'll make my judgments from. I'm not going to try to take it from there. Because I remember I was very thinking from a very like technical aspect, like, oh, Bart's got some good roundhouse kicks and he's got some good body awareness. Like that's pretty much what I was thinking. But now I don't think that anymore. Now I think it's garbage. It's garbage. Basura.
Mine was the exact opposite.
Yeah, what was yours? Yeah.
So the way that I like to work, I don't like to keep an open mind.
Yeah.
I like to judge fucking hard, and then I make sure that other person earns it from me. So when David told me he started training at Fight Academy, I was like, okay, I heard of that place before. It's all right. It's and I stopped by a couple of times, like back in the day. I'm like, okay, whatever.
You trained with an old Muay Thai coach.
Yeah. And I was like, who are you training with? Fucking Savant or something? Like, who else? He goes, no, this guy named Nick. I was like, who the fuck is Nick? No one knows who the fuck Nick is.
And you would be correct.
And then he showed me, I think, a link to either the Fight Academy page or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then there's like a picture of you. I'm not sure if you still remember because I have like fucking autistic memory. There's a picture of you kind of laid like this, and I saw your cauliflower ears. I was like, oh, okay, he got some cauliflower ears, so he knows what he's doing. And then I remember showing up, and then this is when I first rolled my eyes. I saw you have, do you remember your yellow shin pads?
Yeah.
Yellow shin pads and matching yellow gloves.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he's one of those motherfuckers, the guy that has to get the loudest gear in the fucking room. And then I remember we had another session, so that was striking.
I feel so judged, by the way.
For sure. I'm going to judge you like crazy. That's how I work. And I remember having another session, and it was like a rolling only session. Yeah. And you had like a fucking polka dot rash guard.
Yeah.
You remember that purple one?
Yeah, I still have it.
I was like, this is the motherfucker with the loudest gear in the room.
Can I tell you the backstory? I got that on sale, by the way. So continue.
Why would you get a purple polka dot rash?
You know what? I was really into polka dots at the time, and I still wear it to this day. So I still kind of am, and I got it for a good deal. So
do you still use that yellow gear or no?
I gave those actually away.
You did?
I gave those away.
But I remember going, okay, this is that motherfucker. I'm like, all right, he likes to be the fucking class clown or whatever, probably prom king or some bullshit. And then so I already kind of had like a shield.
Yeah.
But what I thought was really cool was when we first started training, I never felt like, because some people, you know, like the reason why I think they're fighters or dancers even or whatever, or like physical movement people, I feel like they can communicate better with their physicality. Mm-hmm. So they kind of like to establish pecking order with their body. Mm-hmm. And I never felt that. I was like, okay, this fool's gonna come. He's the loudest guy with the gear. He's gonna come light me up just to let me know what time it is, and then like kind of put everyone in order based off of their movement.
Yeah.
But I could see you sparring with me at my level.
Oh yeah, we did spar for the first time.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, that's cool. That's really cool. And then I remember the other session because I've been talking.
Because I just didn't feel threatened at all. That's why.
Thank you.
That's why. I didn't feel like this guy was going to kick my ass. I was like, oh, dude, it's like sparring with like a small little baby.
Yeah, and then I remember bringing in Shane, and then that's when I saw you and Shane go at it, and I was like, that's tight. So I saw like your skill level.
And then you saw Shane bring his skill level from here all the way down here to meet me, so he didn't beat me
I did see him put on a blindfold, and he was whipping your ass still.
He was still jabbing me, and I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, so that was, and then...
Shane's really good, by the way.
And then seeing you train David And then seeing David continue, because like David is also someone that I really trust his judgment.
Yeah.
Like David doesn't hide anything.
He's the most critical guy I've ever met.
Yeah,
in
if
my
he doesn't
whole
like
life.
you, he's like, fuck
Yeah.
you to your face. I'm not going to talk to you anymore.
I was also skeptical of him when I first met him too.
Really? Why?
Yeah, because I was like, what's this guy's deal, dude? He was like being really nice to me, and he was like, I thought he was trying to get something out of me. But maybe, you know, that's just past traumas or something. I don't know.
Yeah, no, David's like one of the most realist dudes ever.
No, he is. And it
Yeah.
took me a while because he would tell me stories about things, and I'd be like, this guy's full of shit. Because sometimes when he tells stories, it sounds like he's lying.
But if you've been in those stories, then you know they're all real.
For sure. But then
Yeah.
I've met enough people that have corroborated all these stories where I was like, oh, David just doesn't lie. He just really interesting at telling stories. And that makes me mad. But continue. Sorry.
Yeah, so like seeing him vouch for you and seeing him continuously train with you, I was like, okay, cool. Like, you know, when you're like as famous as I am,
True.
sometimes you're like,
No, it's true, though,
You don't
probably.
know if every relationship is worth keeping open.
Yeah.
Because honestly,
Or genuine,
Because
right?
you meet so many people, you don't know how
Yeah.
genuine they are. You don't know the next time you're gonna see them. Or I'm like, is this person the once a year I see you at the fucking gala type person and we high five?
Yeah.
Or are you gonna make it into like my actual house party where I'm gonna give you COVID through?
Which I didn't go to.
Which you didn't. I gave everyone else COVID.
Yeah.
So
I
I want to
missed
know
out.
how close we're gonna be. Am I gonna
Yeah.
give you COVID or not?
Yeah.
And so like I usually like keep that distance for a while
Yeah.
until I saw that you and David kept hanging out, and then and I would come train.
He kept keeping me around.
Yeah.
You know, which I was surprised by too.
And I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
If David's gonna keep this fire lit, I'm gonna keep this fire lit too. And you were really cool, and you earned the you took away my judgment ice.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't think I was going to be able to do that. What kind of judgments you got about me now, bro?
Now none.
Really?
Yeah, because you
I would imagine you would have more judgment.
no, for me it's in the beginning. I judge everyone fucking hard. Like
Yeah.
the most stereotypical thing. I'm racist.
Yeah.
I'm fucking
Ageist.
That's actually a funny story.
Sexist.
So I was actually really racist 2 times, and both times I was right.
So,
know that?
or were you racist then?
I don't think so.
No.
So the first time
It's
was,
just fact of the matter.
you know, my first Vegas house.
Yeah.
I met my next door neighbor, black dude, right?
Yeah.
6'6", kind of got a good build. I was like, he's an athlete.
Yeah.
So I got his name, Googled him, right? I was like, see, fucking racist. I knew he played in the NBA. And then 2 days ago, I was walking my dog.
Uh-huh.
I saw some dude, backwards hat. I'm not even gonna tell you the skin color.
Yeah.
Backwards
I
hat.
think we already know.
He's on his knees pulling weeds out, which is so much swag that no other race could move like that. And I was like, okay, who is this guy again? We talk a little bit. I Googled his name, and he's a ref for the NBA.
No way.
So he has that like basketball swag.
he's around it. It's going to rub off.
Yeah. So I was just like 2 times racism, 2 times right.
I think the sample size of the times you were racist and you were right, I think is real small right now. I think you're right and really high. I bet there's way more instances where you were like potentially racist
And that was wrong.
and you were also right. But you're just only thinking of these 2.
That's true. There's probably 100 out of 100
There's probably maybe thousands.
wrong. So moving on to from there, when did we start like hanging out more?
I think a lot of it, and the cool thing about training, and I'm sure you've experienced this too, you just meet a lot of cool people through just training together.
Yeah.
Right? And I think you could learn a lot about somebody and who they really are when you see them in the gym and you work out with them, and then things like etiquette, how they carry themselves, how they like communicate with other people. So I think you could get a good sense of that. So a lot of our hanging out sessions, even with Joe, David, or even Yoshi too, because Yoshi would train with us all the time, was all through training. And I think the people that stuck around that we got really good friends with, that became like people that I could trust and rely on, were all through the guys who just stuck around and would just train. Even like Jason Chen would train with us every now and then. And he still trains with me to this day after like 2-3 years now. And then even like Alex Resurrection, all these guys. Like, so we've kind of built a lot of just relationships through just being in the gym together. And then it started coming to like, hey, you want to come watch the fights? Right? In the house where you lived over there. And then it was like the marathon training, and it just kept happening where you would just be like, hey, let's train, let's do this. And then we'd link up. And then from there, I think a lot of
I noticed the pattern
conversation.
though is me asking you, how come you never asked me?
Yeah, that's true.
'Cause I asked you to come over.
That's
I asked
true.
you to run a
That's
marathon
true.
with me.
Yeah.
Or to come train. How come you never asked me to go like play with your dogs or
Yeah.
go on hikes?
I'll say this. That's something I'm really bad at. Not bad at. It's just like I don't do that a lot with friends, and that's something. Even with my best friends, my closest friends growing up, I don't really reach out to say like, "Hey, let's hang out." It's more of like they hit me up and they go, "Hey, you want to do this?" And then I'm like, "Okay, cool." What do you think that says about me? Dude, does that make me a bad person?
I think you got trauma.
I might. But yeah, I think that
Because you
is
do
the thing.
hang out, but you don't ask anybody. But people ask you.
Yeah.
So I think you got some trauma or something.
I think I got some issues, dude.
Who's
I got
your
some
best
issues.
friend? What's the name of your best friend? Do you have a best friend?
Yeah.
Or is it like a group that's all tight?
Yeah, I think I got a best friend.
You do? What's his
His name
or
is Frank.
Are you making this up?
No, his name is Frank.
How long have you known Frank?
I've known him since high school.
Okay. What makes
Yeah.
him your best friend compared to everyone else out there?
See, these are hard-hitting questions.
Yeah.
I think he understands me on another level that most people don't. Actually, I take that back. I think he understands me very well.
So let's say some shit happens. Crazy
Yeah.
shit happens.
I could always rely on him.
Some crazy shit happens. You text Tiff first or you text Frank first?
Oh, that's a good question. I'll text Tiff first.
Why Tiff first and not Frank?
It depends on what the situation is, really. If it's something that I feel like I need assistance, like a physical male assistance, I'll probably call my boy Frank. But if it's something that's like an emergency, something like really serious, I'd probably call Tiffany first.
What would you, let's say you're on the 710 going north.
Yeah.
A fucking semi truck flips over, the whole thing's blocked.
Yeah.
And you see everyone driving to go pick up their friends from the freeway because they have to leave their car there. Who do you call?
I'll call Tiff probably.
You'll call Tiff.
Yeah.
Then when do you call Frank? What do you tell Frank? Why are you laughing?
No, you're right. Because you're asking me questions that I'm like, God damn it, this guy's good at asking questions. Because as soon as you answer the question, you ask the question, in my head, I go, yeah, I know who my best friend is. I know who my best friend, the person I rely on the most.
So your
is
best
probably
friend's
Tiff.
technically Tiff, probably.
Yeah, technically Tiff.
And then Frank is if there's an answer form you need to fill out. Who's your male bet? You're like, I guess I have to write that.
Yeah. I think that's the more accurate.
Would you say it's like this though? So Tiff's up here and then Frank's down here, or is it like this?
I think it's, and also too, time has changed. I think with me being married,
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
true.
like
Yeah.
I think it makes me change how I look at the world and how I move forward and how I like make decisions.
Yeah, because you're gonna spend the rest of your life with this person.
Exactly. And so I think most of it will come down to Tiff, because I'm sure it's the same thing with you, right? Like if some shit hits the fan, who's the first person you're gonna call?
So I'm retarded.
Okay.
And that's why, like, in probably 2015, maybe? Oh, no. Like 2013, 2014, me and Gio had a really rough patch in our relationship to the point where we thought we were going to break up and everything. And in that super rough patch, one of the most retarded things is I think Gio would always hear the news last. Even when we knew we were going to be together. But I'm such a boys type of dude.
Yeah.
That me, like, something happens, I like the boys' reactions to things. I like how we can immediately joke about something, and maybe that's my own internal trauma, trying to avoid the emotional aspect. It's easier to spread, like, oh, my dad died. It's easier to, like, talk with the dudes about that versus, like, oh, my fucking dad, man, what the fuck? Versus going the emotional route.
Yeah.
I think I'm such that it was more natural for me to, like, go through the boys. And so me not knowing that I'm actually alienating her from her being like my significant other role, you know? So like it took me a while to maybe even a year after we got married to like she's my number one person I talk to.
Yeah. I think I went through that earlier in our relationship. Like even before we got engaged, because I would kind of do that. And then she'd always like feel some type of way about, you know, ladies, bro. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Women. Am I right? No, but it's just like she would get upset about how I would do the same thing. Like everybody else would know my plans, and even before she would, right? And she would feel some type of way, and I don't blame her because she'd always be like, "Well, why are you not telling me?" And like I wouldn't even tell her at all. Like she would, and it would be through conversations with my friends when she's around, and then she would hear it and be like, "What the fuck? How come you didn't tell me?"
Yeah, that's exactly how it happened. It'd be like that,
and then I get mad at them, and I go, "Why the fuck are you guys bringing this up in front of Tiff?" That's what I do.
No, for mine, it'd be like we're all laughing about it, and it's almost like an inside joke that we've been laughing about for years.
Yeah,
but then it's news to her, so she feels like outside of like like intimacy, like there's like I think true intimacy is like how well we know each other. She felt outside of that, and I was like, oh shit, I've been doing this thing,
going back to the whole lady thing, right? And I think just women, and it took me a while too, women just perceive and take things differently as well. Like how they want to show love is different than how I want to show love, and how they receive love is very different too, or how they communicate I think is like kind of different.
They're retarded too. Did you hear the recent Boss
We're going to
Rutan?
just bash women, dude.
No, I'm retarded, but women are also retarded. Did you hear the most recent?
We're all retarded.
The most recent Boss Rutan on Joe Rogan?
No. What was he saying?
Okay, so they're talking about how like fighters bringing family to their fights.
Yeah.
Right? And they say it's never a good thing.
Yeah.
Because win or lose, like they can't take it. They're not in the sport for a reason.
I feel like it's a bad idea.
Mostly a bad idea. So for Boss Rutan, for one of the fights, it was one of those like 2 fights in a month in Japan. So he's like, well, might as well you guys, like my wife just come because I'm going to be here for a while. He brings his wife, and I think for most people, they don't want their wife there because they don't want to get beat up in front of the wife.
Yeah, for sure.
But Boss Rutan in this round was whooping the fuck out of the other guy. The wife stands up and walks away. Guess why?
Why?
Guess.
Because she didn't want to see him beat the shit out of some other guy.
So this is how dumb chicks are. She thought that he was going to be extra aggressive and hurt him even more because she's there. So if she walks away, he would have no one to impress. And then he would just beat him regularly. I'm like, that's a way of thinking that no guys ever could even think that convoluted.
That's an interpretation of what women think men think, right? And I think that's where people get in trouble.
Yeah,
it's like
she's interpreting me, I'm interpreting her.
Exactly. And that's when I try to be smart guy and be like, well, Tiff's a lady, so she's thinking about this issue this way, therefore I will approach it this way. And it usually blows up in my face every single time. You know, like where I try to like jump ahead of the situation and I just do more damage because of that. Do you feel like you do the same thing? I bet you do. Don't look at me like you don't know what I'm talking about.
Now, what I learned about the key to being in relationships is being as meta as possible, is what I learned. Do you agree or no?
Give me an example. I don't even know what meta means.
Meta means like talking about the thing you're talking about.
So just having an open conversation.
No. But act like, because I think the guys have the tendency of trying to fix problems.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
That's me.
So chicks will say, oh, blah, 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 this, whatever. And then like the first thing you hear is like, oh, why don't you just
problem solve?
Why don't you do this? Why don't you do this?
Yeah.
And then it took a while for her to go, I'm going to vent right now. Yeah. Don't try to problem solve.
Yeah.
So it's like very meta. It's very, let's talk about what we're going to talk about. And then she would say that. And then I would say like, okay, cool. So I'm able to process that. And then now just kind of be like the shoulder to lean on and then not give advice or whatever. And then the same way where if like now I think we're really good at communicating where if I'm frustrated, I'll just go, I'm frustrated. And then that way, if I have an attitude about something like, oh, what do you want from Postmates? Anything. Then she knows, oh, it's from the other thing you talked about.
Yeah.
So I felt like the being meta really helped but I also feel like that's how you diffuse it, or else the way we think and the way they think is way different.
Yeah,
and
no, for
sure. Always
sure.
assuming the wrong shit.
Yeah, because I think for me, you have to spell everything out for me because I'm a little slow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you got to really paint by numbers for me. That way I'll understand, oh, this is what we're doing. I get it. This is how we move forward. Because it is such a collaborative effort,
Has
right?
Tiff ever try to pull sexy times on you and then you just didn't even see it because she didn't spell it out?
Yes.
What did she do?
Well, I still don't even know to this day.
She doesn't tell you after?
She told me after. She's like, how come you didn't respond?
So what did you do? I mean, what would she do? What did she do, and how did you read it?
She's very subtle. She's like super subtle.
I think most chicks are, which is
Yeah, she was
their
like,
fault.
I put my hand on your shoulder, and I was like, what, dude?
Really?
That's what? No, I forgot what it was specifically, but it was something along those lines of it completely went over my head. And then the next day, she was like, how you weren't down to you weren't down to clown? That's what she says.
That's the chick's problem too. Why do they wait till the next day?
Yeah, why don't wait till the next day? Fucking grab my face.
We literally had like 8 hours laying there.
And
why do you have to wait?
You want to be a gentleman, right? You don't want to
Yeah.
In my head, maybe this is a trauma. In my head, my wife is never down to clown,
Okay.
right? But that's not true. But in my head, I just be like, oh man, like I bet she's not down to do anything, right?
Yeah.
So maybe
You guys
that's
have a good clowning frequency?
what's a good clowning frequency?
I don't know. I think it's up to the couple.
Yeah, I think
What are you guys at?
it's pretty good.
What's pretty good?
Pretty good. Maybe
Like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday situation?
probably once a quarter. Once a fiscal quarter. No, I think on average, because it's different.
First and 15s?
Yeah.
What is
I
it?
think at least once a week on average,
Oh, that's pretty good.
right?
Yeah.
Maybe. But I'd like to get those numbers up,
Yeah. I know what you mean.
But what is like a frequency that you guys do? Like how often do you guys
I would say
throwing it down?
Pre-kid,
yeah,
I would
that's
say
right.
probably, down a clown once a week maybe.
That's pretty solid.
And then I think as we got busier, now it's probably once every 2 weeks, maybe once a month even.
Got it.
Because by the time we'll talk about it during the day, like we're
Yeah.
both clowning.
Yeah, I'm like, we should do something. We
And
should
then-
do something about this.
And then by
Because
the
you guys
time-
are all business too.
and
you
then
know?
by the time we get to bed, we're both fucking exhausted.
Do you send her like a Google Calendar invite and make sure you're like, hey, did you didn't RSVP?
We'll try to do a verbal invite, and
Yeah.
then it's locked in for sure.
Yeah. How often do you guys lock it in verbally and then you guys don't follow through?
So 2 nights ago, we locked it in,
Yeah.
and then I had a fucking headache out of nowhere. And then I was like, oh, fuck.
Staring at screens too long, dude.
Yeah, I had a fucking headache that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then so that didn't happen.
So my follow-up question is, because I feel like you're the epitome of discipline and fitness in the JK realm, right? You're the guy. Does a part of you call yourself a quitter when you can't make it in? Yeah.
I do.
I bet.
So that's what we talked about the other night, where last night we were like, are we going to do it tonight?
Yeah.
And then she was like, well,
Are you
had a-
talking shit too? Are you gonna be
Yeah, a
like,
little bit.
oh, I'm going to rock your world? You
Yeah,
know?
she's like, well, you didn't even do it. You had a little fucking headache.
Yeah, because
And, then,
Gio was
and
like
I was
that.
like, but as soon as I brought it up,
Yeah.
that was I saw her take it as an out too, because I know
Yeah.
she was tired.
Yeah.
So I'm
She was like relieved.
yeah. So if you're relieved,
Yeah.
then I'm not gonna push any further.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
So we weren't down to clown,
Girls do act relieved sometimes
Yeah.
when they get relieved of their duties.
because I feel like when they really want to,
Yeah.
they won't take no for an answer.
Yeah. Which is kind of rare, right?
That is actually kind of.
That's rare. And that's, you could
But
usually.
I also don't know if that's also trauma or generational or cultural.
I think it's cultural, but I also think you could always match it up with their ovulation schedule. Like, I know.
Like they're super horny during.
Like,
ovulation.
yeah, bro. You know when they're ovulating.
Yeah.
Do you keep track of your girl cycle?
No,
Anyway,
no. But
comment below if you guys keep track of your significant other's menstrual cycle.
do you ever do the thing where you just wake up fucking out of nowhere?
Yeah. That was kind of this morning.
That's pretty cool. Oh yeah.
That was this morning.
Tell
yeah.
me about it.
I woke up at 5:30 this morning, and then
With it inside already?
no, I wish. God, I wish. Oh God. No, it wasn't inside already, but like it's because that's the problem with she wakes up later than I do, and I wake up really early because I got the kids now. I gotta like take them out. I gotta like make sure they don't shit everywhere. Anyway, but I wake up really early, and then she was complaining about how she hasn't gotten sleep, so I can't wake her up at 5:30 and be like, hey, get down to mess around a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just not going to work. So I just sat there in my feelings, and I tried to do some work on my phone.
Because you're extra horny this
Yeah.
morning?
Try to take my mind off it,
And then what happened?
That was it. That's the uneventful part. It was just that was.
I thought you said you guys woke up fucking.
No, well, see, I didn't know. I missed that. We didn't wake up having sex. No. I thought you meant would you wake up like 10 hut, you know?
No, I meant like, did you ever wake up like already doing
throwing it down,
doing the disco for like, you're like, whoa, how long have we been doing this for?
No, that's never happened.
Really?
That's never happened. Does that happen to you frequently?
So before we had kids, it happened a couple times, and that's when I know she's ovulating.
Oh,
because I think
that's your sign.
Because I think it's the pheromones and the hormones
Yeah.
taking over so strongly that it's almost at a subconscious level, and we both wake up and we're in doggy style, and we're like, "How did this even happen?"
Dude, Bart, you're a real sexy guy, dude. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I'm like, oh,
you know what?
shit,
We might have had this wrong the whole time. Anthony Lee is not the sex haver.
Anthony
it's
Lee is a sex
Bert
haver.
Kwan.
No, he's a sex haver because he's setting those traps.
If you're waking up out of slumber and you're throwing it down
Sometimes
in reverse cowgirl, dude, that's pretty crazy.
you can't get in those positions when you're sleepy.
But doggies, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But it is more natural though, because you just roll over and you're just like, boom, right?
Yeah, and I think, I don't know, the pheromones going, that the stuff
Yeah.
that you don't even know what's happening in the biology, you
Yeah.
know? But then nowadays, never.
We need Dr. Andrew Huberman to give us an explanation of why this is happening to you, where you wake up just like
Doing it.
throwing it down.
I wake up.
Is that how Taiko was conceived?
No. We actually kind of know where he was conceived. I think he was conceived in England, actually.
No way.
Yeah, because
He's a UK baby?
I think so, because we didn't have our actual honeymoon after we got married because we were so busy. So, like, right after the marriage, we went right back to here to work.
Yeah.
And then for, like, maybe a year or two. And then we're like, you know what? Like, we've always been, like, we feel like, oh, we're kind of like an untraditional, unconventional couple. We do unconventional work. You know, like, we should live life by our rules and stuff. But then also, you also feel like some traditions have been established for so long for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, it works.
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
brings people together. You know, like, there's a reason
Definitely.
why you, instead of just, like, eloping, you ask your lady's dad, can I have permission, and, like, hand in marriage. Like, there's just,
real classic guy.
yeah, there's things that you do that just works. So we're like, okay, like, we never had a real honeymoon. Let's have a honeymoon, because we know once we have a kid, we're not gonna be traveling
Yeah.
anymore. So we did like this little like Europe tour, and then we didn't know like when we were, because we weren't trying, but at the time that we found out when she was pregnant, and then we backdated, we're like, oh shit, that was in, I think, London.
Wow.
In one of those tiny ass London beds. You ever been in London?
No, never.
A twin size bed is like a fucking queen over there.
And poor Gio's just falling off the bed, dude.
Yeah, her head is off and her heels are off.
Her ankles are hitting the floor, dude.
Yeah, and you know they got double faucets. You know that?
That's stupid.
So ours is like this, right? Hot and cold goes
Yeah.
into one.
Yeah.
In some of the old school hotels, it's hot and cold. And I don't know how you're supposed to use it, but you're like,
And that's why they lost the war, dude.
That's probably why.
That's why. 1776. Am I right? Come on, dude. No?
Because they're getting confused by the double faucets.
There's just too much time. It just doesn't work, right? But as far as like, you know, what's funny too, when I've been coming home, one of the main things my wife is watching on the YouTubes is your Bart and Gio podcast.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
Why?
She just likes the advice you guys give out.
Did she start-
I started watching too,
Oh,
and I'm
no.
like, I really like your guys's the stuff you guys talk about. Like,
Really?
yeah, like you did a finance one recently,
Yeah.
and me and Tiff were like, we need to be more like Bart and Gio.
I fucking hate the fans for that one.
Really? Why?
So the fucking stupid ass fans, like I try to like do what they want, right?
Yeah.
So I'm okay, cool. We're about to do some podcasts today. Tell me what topics you want.
Yeah.
And then 20, 30 of them, finance advice. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's take a stab at it.
Yeah.
I do it. That's one of our lowest viewed one. I'm like, you guys don't even want this motherfucker. You fucking lied to me.
But that's what most people do, though. I feel, especially when it comes to YouTube.
Yeah.
Because they're like, sometimes it's the edge of like. Very easily, you're looking on YouTube for educational reasons, and then 2 seconds later, then you're watching, you know, fart videos or something.
Something more entertaining.
Yeah, something like way easier for the dopamine hit.
Yeah.
So I feel like everyone has the intention of watching finance stuff. And then once they start watching it, they're like, this is fucking boring. Yeah. And then they just start looking off and they go on TikTok while they're watching your fucking thing. And then they just don't watch it anymore. But I feel like the stuff, how you guys lay out everything is really fascinating to me, at least. Maybe just because, and also too, I think it's like a season of life. Like the season of life that we're in, we're definitely thinking more of like how to move forward that way.
Yeah.
So when you hear someone putting things out as far as very objective advice that you could take from more like principles and rule sets, right?
Yeah.
Like I think that's like frameworks. It's easier for me to kind of learn things and try to implement like new habits into my day-to-day is from that lens. But when you hear it from someone who's done it at a high level and then is continuing to do it, then you're like, oh, cool. This is like very practical, easy to understand advice. And I feel like that's like some of my favorite stuff to listen to, because I'm sure there's so many different finance channels that we stumble upon, like Graham Stephan, dude. I don't know what the hell that guy's talking about. No, his stuff is really great.
His stuff's good too, yeah.
But even his stuff is a little bit more like entertaining.
Yeah.
But your guys' the way you guys laid it out was just very like paint by numbers. And for me, I was like, oh, this is fucking cool. So now every time I come home, she's always watching your fucking podcast, and you're always talking shit to Gio, and Gio's looking at you like, this fucking guy. And I look at her face and I go, yeah.
Are you on Team Bart or Team Gio?
Sometimes I flip flop.
That's fucked up.
Sometimes I flip flop, but most of the time, Team Bart.
Thank you.
Team Bart, baby.
Yeah, like on the recent Most Finance one, I think most of them we try to like share some of the insight that we learned, because I feel like we always learn things the hard way. Like,
yeah.
Like Graham Stephan, people like him wasn't really around.
Mm-hmm. No, and, for sure.
Like when we first started, so a lot of the stuff in my generation, like we all learned the hard way.
Yeah.
And I also realized professionals have to obey the law, so they can't tell you a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's actually like our ability to share things like in a non-PC political way.
Yeah.
And non, like, we don't have to worry about if we're legal, we're going to lose our license. Like, that's the way I want to learn stuff. Because, like, I'll like ask like our accountant or CPA about certain tax advice.
Yeah.
And then they'll keep telling me in these fucking weird ass words. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, can I do it or not? And then they'll never go like yes or no.
Spell it out.
Yeah. Like even when we first started like buying, when we first started being on the market to buy our first home, mm-hmm. I was like, oh, so like what's the skin color of the people that live around here? And they're like, I'm sorry, I can't tell you that. And then so I was like, okay, I'm just going to start pointing at things and you say yes or no, okay? I was like, this color right here, and then, or this color right here, you know, or this color. And then they would be like, no, I can't say any of that stuff. But now, if I go with my friend to the neighborhood, I'd be like, oh, it's nothing but chinks in here, you know? And so, like, I feel like because of that, like, I actually like doing the podcast.
Yeah.
Because I can share the stuff that, to me, felt like took forever to get those answers. Because tax professionals, real estate, all those guys, they're not going to give you, like, the conversational answer.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, should I do this with my tax? Well, it depends on your financial situation.
It's like too professional, yeah.
And I'm like, motherfucker, you know what I'm trying to do. Just tell me, can I do it, you know?
Sounds like you're hanging out with a lot of squares. But the cool thing about, like, bringing it back to JK, one of the cool things about just being in the room with all you guys, and I feel like you guys are at a different level, in a different stage in life than, like, maybe I am, for sure. So to hear, and from, like, because I kind of see you guys all as like big bros in here, you know? And it's cool to hear from like the conversations that you and Joe have and you and Steve have, or Ryan and Anthony or whatever. It's cool to hear you guys' so much experience that you guys have had. And there's so much like little tidbits of cool little, I don't want to say hacks, but just really good advice. Just basic things that I could I don't get from my circle of friends. You know what I mean?
You don't get it from Frank?
From Frank? No, we're talking about fucking stupid stuff. We're talking about stupid stuff.
What, like just clown down a clown?
Clowning around, dude.
What does Frank do? Yeah.
My boy Frank?
Yeah.
He works at Trader Joe's.
Are you guys the same age?
Yeah, we're the same age.
And he doesn't help you out with any life advice?
Sometimes he does. You know.
Like what? Like fucking Trader Ming sales?
That felt like an insult. I'm gonna take that personally. And yes, he does. He'll be like, hey dog, you gotta try this orange.
Does he know when like the shipments come in and he can come and get what you need?
Kinda. Like if you guys need a plug, like I got a plug, but like don't blow it up. You know, like don't fucking blow up the spot.
Because I got an inside guy at my Albertsons. And then
now you're making fun of me.
No, I'm serious.
Now you're making fun of me.
No, I got an inside guy.
Are you poo-pooing on me?
No, he's a fan.
Okay.
But at my Albertsons.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, how come every time I come here, there's no more Fairlife? And he'll be like,
dude, there's like a nationwide
like, you got to come a Tuesday in the morning. I'm like, all right. And I showed up Tuesday morning. And guess what? Packed to the fucking ceiling. All Fairlife.
All Fairlife, baby. 42 grams or 26 grams of protein.
Oh, I was getting the big bottles. The actual milk. The milk
shit,
one.
Dude. But you know, there's like a total shortage of Fairlife and like Core Power and stuff.
Really? Why?
Those are hard to get. I don't know.
Everyone likes it?
Yeah, everyone likes the protein.
If you go to Costco, you can get a whole fucking case for like, I think like $6 or something.
Now, this is good content. We should talk about more fucking deals. Any other deals you guys want to talk about?
All right, fast forward to this day. Am I the same? Or how has your impression of me changed from 2023 to 2017?
I think over the years of hanging out with you more, I realize I kind of understand a little bit better, not maybe completely, how your brain works and how you kind of approach things. I feel like...
How's my brain work?
I feel like you're very objective with how you handle things. Like you take the emotion out of it, and I feel like that's something that I try to employ in my life now, and I feel like it's been a lot more helpful for me to just get things done and just to like not take things personally, you know, because I feel like for a really long time that was something I was like really worried about, just taking things personally all the time, and I feel like that was like a hardship. So just kind of looking at things objectively for what it is and whatever, because I think a lot of the times whatever preconceived notions that we think about a topic or a person, we establish that in our mind as truth. And we're not really taking it out and looking at it into the light and being like, why do I feel this way about this? Where does this thought come from? And like just taking more questions from that. Like I feel like people tend to not do that. So when I see, because at first I was like, dude, Bart's a robot.
I am a robot.
Yeah,
dude.
no, but you are. Like you kind of are.
Biggest complaint.
But there is a lot of value in doing that.
Is there what's a time that I was a robot that you're like, what the fuck?
Just any JK video ever?
Yeah, really?
No, not even. But it's to the point where, man, I can't really think of like a interpersonal moment that we've had where you'll say things and I'll be like, oh, that was a little harsh. And then I think about it later and be like, oh, but he was actually looking from this way. I can't really think of it that way. It's not really as like, I can't think of an instance. But from when we have conversation, well, actually, even how you handled the passing with your dad, like that, I was like, whoa. It was really crazy because you were just like, I have to get X, Y, and Z done. It's crazy because all the stuff you were going through that whole week was a really cool example of like you have every excuse in the world to not get certain things done, to fucking bail on this, bail on that, whatever. Because
I'm not Anthony though. But
I'm sorry, Anthony. It was Bart. It wasn't me. Take that back, Bart. Anyway, to see how you went through that whole situation was like, that is the true definition of not just discipline, but just moving in a way where you're like kind of being a man about shit, right? Because I felt like we saw you actually sit with your feelings and really handle with or deal with what you're feeling and talk about it openly and just be like, yeah, this is what it is. Like, obviously, I'm sad and I'm heartbroken, but I still need to do these things over here, and this still needs to get done because you have responsibilities, and I feel like you don't really see that as much anymore, and it's hard to find people that really live by that to a certain degree, or just to be consistent with that, with something as tragic and sad and complicated as what you dealt with the passing of your dad. Like, that is fucking high level shit, right? So that was definitely an example where I was like, damn, Bart's kind of a fucking gangster, you know, like, and it was, and I think we all were, I don't want to say, yeah, I think to a certain degree inspired and just kind of like, okay, time to look at our stuff a little bit more, look at our own personal, that's how I felt.
Well, I appreciate you guys being there for me, because that was like definitely a crazy weekend. And it was cool that, like, everyone was down to stay. Because it was felt like, you know, when you have, like, big news.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck, I got to share and express it with someone.
Yeah.
And everyone was down to just stay after and hang and talk.
Yeah.
And so that meant a lot to me, too.
Well, you know, full disclosure, I don't know what the fuck to say.
Yeah, because it's crazy.
Well, and also, too, like, the way you were like, hey, can we talk? Like, can I tell you guys something? I thought it was some JK shit. I thought it was, like, some business stuff.
Yeah.
And then for that bomb, and I just immediately felt like my heart sank. I felt like my stomach like drop. I was like, "Oh my God!" It just caught me off guard. And then, you know, to see someone that you care about go through something like that, you're just like, because you empathize and you can't help but to feel like, "Oh my God, what's Bart going through right now? What you're feeling?" And then just kind of sitting there and processing it. And yeah, it just caught me by surprise that I just wasn't. Yeah, it was just such a crazy moment. It was very emotional. It was very heavy. And but then to see how you moved from that going forward, and then you're cracking jokes like as we're having dinner or right after you told us, I was like, Jesus Christ.
Maybe that's the only way I know how to
But
cope
no,
with
for
something.
sure, for sure. And but then again, you realize like, yeah, that trait is very unique to Bart. And then you kind of understand. You see how everyone's like so different and how they approach things, and it's just cool to see. And I'm thankful to have a group of guys that I could constantly learn from, and just kind of be around everybody. You know, yeah. So I'm very thankful for this fucking show, dude. This fucking show. But it is crazy. All the people you guys have brought together over the years, and to see what you guys have built, and the fact that you guys have been doing this for how many years have you guys been doing JKNews for?
If I had to guess, I think 13.
Did you ever think you would be doing this for this long?
That might be like half retarded on my part.
Yeah.
But I thought I was going to do it forever.
Yeah.
And then I realized
Did that change at any point,
the world shows you examples that things don't last forever. You know, like it's crazy. It's like growing up, I would watch all these like, you know, those like, oh, the NFL guys that went broke or whatever. There's all these documentaries and shows, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, fucking idiots. How do you squander millions of dollars?
Yeah.
And then I remember like at the peak of JK, and then when we started like the revenue algorithm starts changing, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm not making the same I did anymore.
Yeah.
And then I could kind of extrapolate. I'm like, oh fuck, if I don't change my spending habits in the next 12 months, I'm gonna be like this NFL guy.
Yeah.
So you don't actually like, you recognize it, but you don't apply it to yourself. Like I've seen Friends start and end. I've seen all my favorite shows start and end, but you never go, oh, my show has a start and an end to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been 13 years, and when we're in it, I never thought we would ever end. We thought we would just keep going and going and going.
For sure.
But fortunately, we're still going, which is pretty damn cool.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
The priorities have shifted.
Yeah.
But I did recently watch something on Graham Stephan because he's like a big numbers cruncher, and I think he said like 70 or 80% of channels stop after 5 years because, you know, people just evolve out of it, which kind of makes sense, right? Like high school's 4 years, colleges
because
4
people
want
to pivot, right? I think it's normal for people to get like tired of something or just like, oh, I want to chase the new shiny thing.
Yeah, and even as a person. You hear like they say even your skin is not the same skin every 7 years.
Yeah.
Like you as a person aren't even the same. So why would you like the same things?
Yeah.
And then so I think he says like 90% of channels are gone by 7 years.
Wow.
So for us to be here for 13, that's pretty cool.
We doubled it, dude.
Yeah.
You guys doubled it. So.
Well, we all doubled it because I don't know if we could do it without you guys.
Without Ryan, dude. Without Ryan,
Anthony, you, Steve.
Yeah, for sure.
Can.
It's been a fun group. Can's my favorite, even though I fucking hate his guts sometimes.
Well, it was nice talking to you, Nick, getting to know you for just a little bit.
Honestly, we should do this more.
See?
You always say that.
No, we should. No, because it is something. This has been a theme in my life recently, and it's just like trying to make more time for
And invite people to go do things.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the inside of your house looks like. I don't
You
know.
don't want to see the inside
I don't know
of my
your
house,
new
bro.
stove. I haven't seen your new stove. I haven't seen your new kids.
The new stove is pretty sweet.
I haven't seen any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I've never even sat in your car. Have I? I don't even sat in your car.
Yeah, you're not going to sit in my car
Why not?
because your car is way cooler.
My car. I want to sit in your fucking car. I don't know what it feels like. I never sat in your Miata.
Nah, not everyone gets to sit in the Miata, bro. Like,
I never sat in your car.
let's be real.
But anyways, it was nice getting to know you on a personal level on this show.
Do you feel like you got to know me a little bit more?
A little bit more.
Damn, that sounded like not that good.
No, it was really good.
Yeah?
Because I didn't know you guys were fucking down to clown. So that's pretty cool.
I thought we were gonna do this longer, man. We're wrapping
No,
up
next
already?
time we're gonna do it. If you want to see a part 2, let us know, and
Yeah.
then let us know which other combinations you would like to see,
Yeah.
and maybe even further that. If there's certain topics that you would like the pair to talk about, let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next JK Overtime.
Bye, guys.